So quickly, what would that part-time watershed inspector be doing? The bulk of their work would be concentrated fall and spring to target a lot of the runoff events. They wouldn't be working 20 hours a week every week of the year. We would have them working a bulk of their time in these time frames when we have severe runoff. What they would be doing is a lot of field work. They'd be looking into the sub-watersheds, analyzing tributaries, taking notes, doing water sampling as well to document areas that are of concern. And this kind of work would specifically target runoff from agricultural fields and manure spreading practices, as well as construction sites and stream bank erosion. So quickly, how that would impact the water rates. Currently, a family that uses about 7,500 gallons pays about 30 cents a quarter or $1.20 a year. With the increase, that same family at that 7,500 gallons would be paying 45 cents or $1.80 per year. So they would only be paying about 60 cents per year more on top of what they're already paying to fund this $30,000 addition to the budget. And then why is it so important for these people? Well, because it's their drinking water. Owasco Lake is the drinking water source for over 50% of Cayuga County's population, and that's about 44,000 people. And so if the water quality in Owasco Lake declines and they don't pay for it through the inspection program, the drinking water will start to have increased taste and odor problems through decreasing water quality. There will be an increase in disinfection byproducts that have been known and linked to as a carcinogen. There's an increased potential for algal toxins from increased algal blooms in the lake, as well as increased risks of pathogen breakthroughs like cryptosporidium that's not able to be treated through chlorination processes. The bacteria survives that. As well as just increased treatment costs for having to process the water through more rigorous treatment in order for it to meet quality standards. The last few slides just document some of the things that we have worked on with myself and these 4 seasonals that I've had for the last 2 summers. This particular situation was from 2008. We had a significant rainstorm which caused the stream to run very muddy. One of my seasonals and myself walked the entire trip, and we found sheet water flow and runoff from a soybean field. Through the help of people at Soil and Water, we came up with a buffer strip for this particular property. And this picture was taken this past spring of his buffer strip. He was able to plant grasses that he can harvest for hay for his animals. It will be permanent. He won't have to till this up. And the stream this summer, we monitored every storm event and did not run muddy once this whole summer. This is another situation from 2008. This was a manure spill. Manure had been spread on a field. We had a significant rainstorm, and there was a broken tile in the field that the farmers were not aware of, and the manure was able to run into the stream. This is myself and John Frazier from the Cayuga County Soil and Water District's Nutrient Management Planner. And the wet area here is where that manure was leaching into that broken tile. This particular situation was resolved through DEC. They fined, as well as part of the fining process was this field was not to be spread on anymore to prevent future runoff issues like this one. And I continually monitor that field, and they have not spread on it since. Another issue we deal a lot with is construction around the lake. This particular one was a complete demolition, reconstruction of a new home on the lake. And then on inspection of the property, their silt fencing on the left was completely installed incorrectly, as well as they had dumped spoils of sediment into the stream channel. After speaking with the property owner and the contractor, in less than 3 weeks, silt fencing had been placed properly. This is the disturbed area. It has straw mulch and grass seed on it. And then this is what the spoils pile was. It's now a retaining wall that had been seeded in mulch. So we were able to put the pressure on the contractors, and they were able to complete the work and have the silt fencing to protect all that work installed properly. This is another kind of construction project, not just homes. We see a lot of retaining walls and seawalls. As you can see, this contractor had pushed debris completely into the lake. After working with the contractor, silt fencing was installed, and this is the project after it was completed. But this picture was taken during the construction process, and this bulge is actually sediment that had run off during this rain event and was stopped by that silt fencing. So had the inspection program not been available to tell them to put the silt fencing in, all the sediment that was trapped would have ended up into the lake. This picture is actually a failing septic system. There's the raw sewage, that darker black area. So we deal a lot with septic systems. This particular one was at a rental in 2008. Because we saw an impact from rental properties in the watershed, I made a whole file of rentals that are listed on the internet. And because of that, we checked this property weekly, and then about a year later, we found that it was failing again. This has been sent to the health department, and they actually are having to add leach lines onto their current leach field to provide more leaching surface for their wastewater. Again, this is working with municipalities, road ditches that have been cleared and are left barren. I work a lot with Soil and Water with their hydroseeder to have these taken care of. That was a before, this is an after, and that was actually over 2 miles of ditching that had been done, and we were able to get that all hydroseeded. This is another example of some of the hydroseeding work I have done. This is for the town of Owasco. I used GPS to document exactly where the ditches were. We were able to get approximate length, and all the little red lines were open ditches, and it worked out to be about 4.8 miles of ditches that had been open. And if you look, many of them are by streams, which are the blue lines. Many of them are across or are near them. So this was really important to get these ditches stabilized. And then the last clip is another piece that we worked on a lot in the summer of 2009 with the seasonals, and that's dumping of yard waste and proper disposal of lawn clippings. If you look, this is a tributary to the lake. The lake is less than 1,000 feet from where we're standing in this picture. And you can see a lot of grass clippings were dumped. Grass clippings decay, they release their nutrients like phosphorus. We find a lot of dog feces and animal waste that have been dumped with these lawn clippings, so they have their nutrients as well as a lot of bacteria. So it's very harmful for people to be putting these in waterways. I worked with the landowner, and this summer, almost a year later from the first picture, all those grass clippings have decayed from the year before, but he has not dumped any more this past summer. So that was a great success as well. So I'm Jessica Miles, a Owasco Lake Watershed Inspector. There's the phone number that anybody can reach me at, as well as the address. I work out of the Natural Resource Center on County House Road with the Soil and Water Conservation District. My email and website, and I will be producing my annual report for 2009. It will be available in early February, and that can be accessed from the website as well.